My son said I was too old to be trusted with my own home, so he sent me to a nursing facility like I was already dead. But the truth is, I wasn't confused. I wasn't done. And while he counted his inheritance, I was making plans of my own. There's a kind of quiet that only comes with being alone in your 70s. It's not heavy. It's not sad. It's just there. Like the hum of the fridge or the wind brushing the side of the old barn. I've lived on this land for over 40 years. My late husband, George, used to call it the beating heart of our family. 10 acres of Kentucky soil passed down through his people, generation after generation. We raised our boy, Adam, here, built the porch with our own hands, harvested tomatoes every July, buried the family dog out near the oak tree when Leo, our grandson, was just 5. After George passed, I stayed, not because I was stubborn, but because it felt right. The garden still grew, the hens still clucked, and every October, Leo would visit and we'd bake spiced pumpkin bread from scratch. He'd always say, "Grandma, yours tastes better than store-bought." Adam visited too, but always in a hurry, always on his phone. He'd say things like, "You shouldn't be out here alone, Mom, it's dangerous," or, "You ever thought about selling and moving into town?" I'd laugh it off. I thought he was just worried, just busy. I didn't see it coming, of course. Not then. I didn't know that behind those quick hugs and busy eyes, he'd already started talking to lawyers. I didn't know that while I was canning peaches in the kitchen, he was looking up long-term care placements for seniors with memory loss. No, back then, I still thought love was enough. That everything I'd given, every skipped meal, every scraped knee, every bedtime story, would eventually come back around. I believed in the good I planted, and like any good gardener, I never imagined my own son would try to dig me up just to claim the soil. But that's the thing about seeds. Sometimes what looks buried, they're just beginning to bloom. It happened on a Monday morning. I was outside clipping dead branches off my rosebush when the world tilted sideways and I found myself sitting in the dirt, heart thudding like a drum in my chest. I thought maybe I stood too fast. Maybe I hadn't eaten enough. I told myself it was nothing. But Adam didn't think so. He showed up that afternoon like a storm, his truck tires kicking up gravel, voice loud with concern. "Mom, that's it. You're coming with me. I'm not letting you risk your life out here alone." I tried to tell him I was fine. I even laughed and said, "Well, it's about time someone cared this much about my roses." But he wasn't smiling. The next morning, he drove me to a wellness center just outside Lexington. Said it was just for a week, just until I got my strength back. He called it a retreat. Said there'd be soft beds, warm meals, even a little garden out back. I didn't pack much, just a sweater, some books, and Leo's last drawing he made for me. I didn't think I needed more. I trusted him. When we pulled up to the building, I remember thinking it looked like a hotel with none of the charm. Beige walls, plastic plants, a front desk that felt too quiet. He signed the forms while I sat in the waiting room. Then he hugged me long, too long, and whispered, "You're safe now, okay?" Then he left. And he didn't come back. No visit, no call. I asked the nurse if she could reach him. She just gave me that look, the one that says, "You poor thing." A day passed, then 2. On the 3rd day, I asked to see what I'd signed. The administrator looked nervous. She brought me a clipboard with forms I'd never seen, with my signature somehow printed neatly at the bottom. Medical consent, residential admission, observation hold. There it was. My son had checked the box that said I was no longer safe to make my own decisions. He put me away without ever asking. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about keeping me safe. This was about getting me out of the way. Has anything like this ever happened in your family? You don't have to share details, but if you've ever felt invisible in your own home, just drop "I" in the comments. You're not alone. I see you. We all do. Because betrayal doesn't always come with yelling. Sometimes it arrives in a whisper, with paperwork already signed. The walls in that room were too clean. That was the first thing I noticed. No calendar, no family photo, no smell of cinnamon or lavender like back home, just antiseptic and dust. The bed creaked when I sat on it. It wasn't mine, and I felt like I didn't belong in it. The first night, I kept thinking maybe Adam would call. Maybe he just forgot. But when the second day passed and my phone stayed quiet, something shifted in my chest. Not fear exactly. Not yet. It was the kind of silence that makes you realize you've been left behind. I tried calling him. The front desk handed me a landline. I dialed his number, hands trembling, straight to voicemail. I called again, then again, nothing. I tried his wife, too. Once. Blocked. That hurt more than I expected. Danielle used to sit in my kitchen and cry when their marriage hit rough patches. She called me Mama C back then. I held her hand through her miscarriage. And now, silence. By day 4, I started staring out the window like the other residents. Some of them talked to the air, some just sat there with mouths slightly open, staring through the glass like they were already on the other side of something. One woman rocked back and forth for hours, clutching a doll with missing hair. I wasn't like them. I wasn't confused. I wasn't lost. But the longer I sat there, the more I began to wonder, is this how it ends? After everything, raising a child alone, saving every penny, keeping the family land alive, I get tucked away like a file in a drawer. I didn't cry that night. I did something else. I asked the night nurse for a notebook, told her I liked to journal. She smiled and brought me a little spiral-bound pad from the activity room. I didn't write poems. I didn't write prayers. I wrote facts, names, account numbers, land titles, dates, legal contacts. And I wrote a name I hadn't thought of in years, Amanda Wu, the young lawyer my husband once mentored, because maybe I couldn't fix everything right away, but I could remember. And remembering, truly remembering, was the first step to getting back everything they thought they'd taken from me. The day I got access to my old address book was the day everything changed. One of the younger nurses, Maya, noticed me scribbling in my spiral notebook and whispered, "You seem sharper than half the folks here, Miss Hastings." I smiled. "That's because I am." She snuck my purse back to me during her night shift. I don't know what risk she took doing that, but I'll never forget her face. She didn't see a patient. She saw a woman trying to get back on her feet. Inside the purse, tucked behind some tissues, was the last business card my husband gave me before he passed. Amanda Wu, estate and land attorney, Lexington, KY. I hadn't spoken to Amanda in over a decade, but she used to come over for Sunday dinners back when George was mentoring her at the firm. She called me Miss C and said my peach cobbler tasted like justice. I left her a voicemail that night. My voice shook, but my words didn't. "Hi, Amanda. This is Clara Hastings. I believe my son has committed financial fraud under my name and placed me in a facility against my will. If you still believe in people like me, call me back." She called the next morning. "Miss C, are you safe?" "Safe enough. For now." Amanda wasted no time. That same afternoon, she showed up with a tote bag full of files and a paralegal named Mitch, who barely said 2 words. We sat at the edge of the bed while I laid out everything I'd written. Land title copies, account names, dates. Adam used my car, emails he sent using my login, every breadcrumb I could recall. She frowned. "He used this land as collateral?" I nodded. "For a loan. $350,000. I overheard it. He's building some kind of eco-lodge project, said it's the family legacy, but he didn't ask for mine." Amanda's eyes sharpened. "You're still the sole legal owner, Clara. Any use of that land without your written, verified consent is unlawful." I exhaled for the first time in what felt like weeks. Amanda pulled out a form and handed me a pen. "Let's revoke everything. POA, access to your accounts, every piece of control he thinks he has. We'll start there." And I did. Hand shaking, heart steady, I signed my name like I was planting a flag on land they tried to steal from under me. They thought I was confused. They didn't know I was preparing for war. I didn't tell anyone when I left the facility. No goodbyes, no hugs, just a plastic bag of folded clothes and a quiet walk out the side door. Amanda had booked me into a short-term rental, small place near a creek with creaky floorboards and a porch swing that needed oiling. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Adam didn't know I was out. Not yet. We spent that weekend working. Amanda filed a petition to freeze the Eco Lodge loan, citing fraudulent use of land. The bank responded faster than expected. They'd been nervous from the beginning. Turns out Adam had already missed his second payment. We also filed for emergency revocation of the forged power of attorney. And just like that, within 72 hours, Adam was legally powerless. It felt like standing upright again after weeks on my knees. The land was mine. The account was locked. And for the first time in a long time, I had choices. I didn't go back to the farmhouse. I didn't want to. Instead, I bought a little house 5 miles away. Modest white siding, roses out front, paid for in full using what was left in my savings. Amanda said, "You sure you want to live this close?" I looked out the window and smiled. I want him to see what he couldn't break. The moment Adam found out was almost comical. Amanda's assistant served him the notice just after sunrise on a Tuesday. According to the process server, he answered the door in pajama pants and a robe, Danielle behind him in a sleep mask. Adam turned white. Danielle started screaming. I didn't need to witness it. Knowing was enough. That evening, my phone buzzed with a number I half recognized. I let it ring twice. Then I answered. "Mom," he said, voice shaky. "We got a letter." "Is this real?" "Yes," I said. "You're gonna ruin me." "No, Adam," I said softly. "You did that all by yourself." And I hung up. That night I made soup, sat on the porch, watched the sun dip behind the trees, and for the first time in years, I wasn't waiting for someone to come save me. I had done it, quietly, precisely, and entirely on my own terms. Weeks passed. The leaves started to turn, and the light shifted softer across my porch steps. Adam didn't speak to me after that last phone call. He didn't have to. Silence has a way of saying everything. Danielle moved out first. I watched her drive off with boxes stacked to the roof of her SUV, not even glancing back. No hugs, no apology, just gone. The for sale sign stayed up for weeks after that, leaning sideways in their dry yard like even it had given up hope. Adam stayed, though. I'd see him sometimes, sitting out front, holding a beer, eyes empty, like he was waiting for someone who'd already made their peace and walked away. But I wasn't looking for reconciliation. I wasn't angry anymore. I just wasn't available. Leo came by more often. He helped me with the garden, ate dinner at my table, started calling this place our house. He told me, "Dad says you cut him out of the will." I nodded. "He's mad." "I'm not," I said, because I'd rewritten everything. My will now left the house to Leo when he turned 21. Until then, a trust would cover school, rent, and groceries. The rest, my savings, the land money, my husband's old pension, was moved into a new grant, the Hastings Legacy Fund. It would help women like me, discarded, dismissed, and underestimated. I didn't tell Adam. Amanda did, months later, when he asked for clarification. He called that night. "Mom," he said, voice tight, "you really left me nothing?" "No," I replied. "You did that all by yourself, the day you filed me away like I was luggage." He went quiet. "I forgave you," I continued, "but forgiveness doesn't mean inheritance." And that was the last time we spoke. Now my kitchen smells like lemon polish and cinnamon bread. The porch swing no longer squeaks. Leo's grades are up. His smile is back. He asked if we could plant tomatoes next spring. Of course we can, because no one will uproot us again. If you've ever been made to feel small or invisible, just know, your story's not over. Sometimes the ending isn't loud. Sometimes it's a quiet morning, fresh coffee, and the sound of your name still being spoken by someone who means it. What does peace look like for you? Drop a comment. Someone reading might need to hear it today.